HIBA, How I Became an Atheist. This one will be on saying grace. It's I guess it could be real short. I suppose it will be. Oh man, getting stuff out my eye. Let's see. So this has been in my head for probably about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not sure if I should go over it or not. It seems very simple and clear cut to me, but I'll just say it. When I was a kid, always my mom would say grace. My grandparents would say grace. Anyone I was around would say grace. So, Lord, thank you for this food. Blessed thee, our Father in heaven. Some arrangement of therefore. Or they would just say, we all clasp our hands and bow our heads in a moment of silence and prayer. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be praying for? It's mac and cheese. It's greens, lima beans or pork chop or steak or something. So to me, I'm like, I don't get it. It never made sense as a kid. So I'm like, I remember I asked once, why do we say grace? I was just curious. Like, we say grace because we're thanking God for giving us this food, which I heard quite often. Without God, we would not have this food. And, as a kid, I couldn't really, refute that. I couldn't because I didn't know where the food came from at the time. When I would go to the grocery store with Mom, most of the time she'd just leave me in the car. I just sit in the front seat or the back seat and just wait 30 to 40 minutes until she got back. And if I did go in with her, I would follow her around sometimes, but usually I would just kind of get bored with walking in silence. So I would just trail off and go where I want to go. And she wouldn't come look for me or anything. I'm off doing my own thing. And at some point I'm like, where's Mom? And then I got to go hunt her down. I'll see her and I'm like, oh, she's over there. And I'll walk off again. That's kind of how just it was. So when I didn't know that she was getting the food from the grocery store. So later, when I started realizing that in my mid-teens, I was like, why are we thanking God for the food when you had to go out and buy it, come home, cook it, and why are we not thanking you? That's what I was thinking. So I was like, let me go ahead and ask. So I did ask that question roughly like that. And okay, actually it was a little bit simpler than it was like, why are we thanking God for the food when you're the one buying it and cooking it? What's wrong with thanking you? Mom's like, well, God provided the food. I'm just cooking it up. So we thank him. You don't say grace anyway. So why are you even asking? And I was like, we don't even eat at the table anymore. I'm just still wondering why anyone does it. Because I'm like, if you got to go out and buy the food, everyone got to go out and buy the food. And if everyone's going out buying the food, that means God isn't conjuring it up. Because I see you cook it. I smell you cooking it. I hear you cooking it. So I'm like, how do we thank someone that's doing nothing for the things that we're doing? I'm like, that's where my head was. So, I go through that and, I eat in my room. I didn't want to have anything to do with my parents. I got tired of the crap. And it wasn't religious crap, I suppose. I don't know. Even today, I don't really know. It just, personalities didn't mix, So I'm like, I eat in my room. Sometimes they eat in their room or at the dinner table, separate or together. It just depends. And even today, seeing people at a recent family get together at my grandma's house, all the uncles and aunts get together with all the kids. We're going to say grace and all this. So they're outside. They stand in a circle and say grace. My daughter was down there with them. It was enraging me. I honestly felt nauseous and sick in my stomach. I was unhappy. I felt like it was disgusting. I thought it was just against any positive morality. Because to me, it's just all lies. And that's what I discovered. So seeing that, I'm like, yeah. And I wasn't happy. I'm still not happy, but I didn't think about it until now, honestly. So it's been a few months. I haven't even thought about it until now, and I'm probably not going to think about it after probably 40 minutes or so after recording this. Just, I'm like, that's, that's how I feel about it. But there's a lot of things wrapped up in that alone. So I'm like, okay, everyone says grace. And then more recently, a friend of mine, he was over here with my co-host's mom, and they're saying grace before they're having their seafood. And I'm thinking, this is strange, because in the Bible, it says you shouldn't eat shrimp, or I think any shellfish, actually. You shouldn't. So now they're sitting there at the table, in an atheist home, I add, in an atheist home at a table of shrimp and other seafood, saying grace, thanking God for providing the food that God says you shouldn't eat. So I'm like, am I the only one getting this? Am I? It's weird. Thank you, God, for this food that you say is against your rules and laws and whatnot. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, come on. So I'm like, I just can't get it. I just can't get why I say grace. Why? When I watched Naked and Afraid some years ago, and it was. I mean, I was like, I got to see this, but why be naked though? What the hell is the point of that? That's stupid. I guess for ratings and to make sure they have nothing. And I suppose, I don't know, but when they get hungry, because they're used to store-bought food, and I get that. When they get hungry, they have to go kill something. This woman killed a frog or something in a swamp to put it on a fire she had to make out of almost nothing, really. She got very fortunate. But she didn't thank God. She didn't. She apologized to the frog or creature. She apologized to it. You could tell that her apology, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, please, I'm so sorry, forgive me. She was very apologetic. She did not want to kill to eat it, because it taps into that part of savagery that we try to evolve ourselves from when it comes to visual and in-your-face thoughts. We try to separate ourselves from that. We don't want to see ourselves as the snarling, raging animal on this planet that's destroying everything around us. We don't want to see that. So when she did that, she was very thankful, and it was amazing. She apologized and she was thankful. She thanked it. Now, it did not die for her survival. She killed it for her survival. It did not survive. It failed in surviving to an alpha predator. So she thanked it. She didn't want it to suffer and die in the first place, but she had to eat. And I get that. So that's why I'm like, to me, that's what it's about. That to me is what it should be. I thank the grocery store for housing it. I thank the butchers and whatnot for killing and carving it up. It may not be the most humane way, but how do you murder something humanely? I mean, lethal injection. Look, it's dying. You can't kill anything humanely. To me, all you can do is make sure it dies as silent and as quiet, so that you are not traumatized by the reactions of something trying to fight to live. That's how I see that. You can kill something and it's quiet, it's subtle, they go to sleep, and Well, they went to sleep because you put them to sleep. Or, no, you're like, oh no. It's like this other movie where they had, not movie, but a TV series where they had to go to these farms for like 20 days or a month or 2 months. And they had to live. So without technology or any of that stuff, they chose spoiled middle class families to go out there, and they had to go out there and they like their beef. They had to go out there and literally kill the cow and gut it and clean it. They hated it. They felt ashamed. They started to understand and appreciate what they had to go through. And when it was time to leave, they didn't want to go back to technology and things like that. And when they got home, eventually they didn't really want to deal with their phones or anything. They wanted to go out. They wanted to experience life. Now, I'm sure that didn't last too long, but it shows that we only adapt to the things that we are around, to our environment at hand. So I'm like, if we can adapt to going out and killing to eat, if we can adapt to going out and living it rough with another family and doing things the hard way, seeing it from the butcher to the table, if we can adapt to that, then why can we not adapt into not thinking something that we cannot prove, that is so powerful that it can't prove itself of existence? Something so strong, it created itself, gave itself the he, gave us a book, gave us his son, which was himself, so powerful to do all of these things, but yet can't just simply say, I'm here, and these are my rules, and this is what I truly want. So why can't we adapt? Why can't we evolve? So when it comes to saying grace, I find it silly. I find it meaningless. And I can't fathom why they do it. I can't fathom why people do it. Maybe you could tell me down there in the comments section below. That'd be nice. Do you say grace? And if you do, why? Are you really thanking God? Does he say you're welcome? And if he does, what does his voice sound like? I mean, God must be a guy. Everyone calls him a he. So what does God's voice sound like? And when do you hear it? At what times of the day? And when you say grace, when you say it, are you overcome with the sense of, God? Or is it the sense of, I don't know, the ghost of the food? I don't know. I'm just asking questions, and I'm curious about things. Where do you come from? Where do you stand? And if you don't say grace, why don't you say grace? I guess maybe you agree with me, or maybe you got your own reasons. And if you're someone that make YouTube videos, why don't you do one explaining why you don't and why you or do say grace? If you're a believer and you say grace and you do a video on why you do it and all these other things, I will listen to it. Link me down to it, or just say, I'm going to make a video, and then come back and say, made the video. I will go check it out and I will listen to it. No problem. I will give my full attention, and I will make a comment on it. So, I'm very open. I'm not trying to, be hateful or anything. I'm just giving my opinion, my life, and things like that. So this is almost 15 minutes. I'm going to end it here and render it in Filmora. So this is the Atheist Dragon. This is Cedric. This is for Comparative Reasoning. This is how I became an atheist. Thank you for listening.